What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and with me tonight is a very special guest, none other than inside the Bro Barn right now,
in the barn.
Rangel. Gabe, how you doing tonight, man?
Good, Jim. How you doing?
Oh, I'm living the dream right now. Really happy that you're taking the time to come on. So I want to thank you again for that, dude. So you ready to get into this, man?
Let's get into it. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Gabe, now most people, they're recognizing you now, man. You're getting out there. You're a hit on Instagram, Twitter. I'm finding you out there, seeing articles. Dude, you're doing big things. So before we get into those big things, though, here at On the Road to Victory, I always give people an opportunity to, just in case someone doesn't know who you are, I'm going to give you this time to introduce yourself. And, I first want to thank you for your service because I read that you served 6 years in Iraq and Afghanistan. So, dude, thank you so much for that. And, I just want to talk about how you got from there and how you became a trainer. First, we'll start with that.
All right. It's a good story. So I was getting ready to go to Iraq. So Iraq was my first tour in the Marine Corps. And I was working out back home in the Bay. I'm from the Bay Area, California, East Bay, like Oakland, Hayward area. Grew up a Raider fan. But I was working out. I had like a week home before I was about to leave. And so I went and did CrossFit. And this is back in like 2006, the very beginning of 2006. So like CrossFit wasn't even a big name. So I worked out. And in my unit, we're in like a special unit in the Marine Corps where we jump out of airplanes. And like less than 0.5% of Marines are jump qualified. It's like usually in like a special operations unit. So I have a big tattoo of my jump wings on my back. And this guy saw me. He's like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing CrossFit?" I was like, "I'm getting ready to go to Iraq." He's like, "No, you're coming to work out with me." Come to find out, this guy was a prior Marine. And then he got into like the powerlifting world. So he took me under his wing and kind of showed me the working out world. But like he used to be a trainer for like the AAA hockey team in Arizona for like the NHL, like the Coyotes AAA team. So he kind of got me into strength and conditioning, like without knowing I was getting into strength and conditioning, because I saw the camaraderie of these like NHL guys working out. So that's how I kind of like fell in love with strength and conditioning. I just didn't know it. Ended up going to Iraq, kept in touch with him, came back, got my degree in kinesiology, and then ended up doing an internship at Tulsa University. And when I was at Tulsa, I did strength and conditioning for football. So that's kind of what got me into like the football focus. My high school football coach was working at this place called Athletes Performance. Now it's known as Exos. It's a lot of guys go for combine training, one of the more trusted sources. And he left, started his own gym. He's like, "Hey, you want to come and do this?" His name's Travell Gaines. And we started Athletic Gains. So some of the first clients I ever got to train was, LaShawn McCoy, Marshawn Lynch, Winston Justice, Kirk Morrison, Orlando Scandrick. And he pulled me over. And so that was like my first exposure to NFL guys. And from there, it kind of just kept escalating. Fast forward, I'm skipping a whole bunch of stuff, but fast forward, I started training Brian Urlacher and we became good friends. And so Brian and I opened a gym in LA, and Jay Glazer ended up coming in on with us. And so it was us three that owned the gym. And Lane came in with Chip Kelly because Chip and Jay were good friends. So Lane came in with Chip, and at the time they're sports science guy. And that's how Lane and I met. So full circle, long-winded answer. But so we met, that was right after Lane's first rookie year.
Wow.
So he kept in touch. He loved the way I trained him. And then fast forward, he's like, "I need you." And that's why I'm sitting in this barn here in South Jersey.
Dude, Gabe. I was expecting like a cool answer, like, "Yeah, military guy. Here we go." Wow. That's awesome. And you're telling me what I heard there at the end, Gabe, is I have to give credit to Chip Kelly for, man.
We'll say Glazer. We'll go on the Glazer side. We don't got to go Chip.
I love it though, dude. And that's such a cool story, man. Thank you for sharing that. One of the things, I read a couple things. I definitely did not read all of that, but one of the things I found very intriguing was you seem to be a hot commodity out here before, you're with the Eagles. You actually were the head trainer for Adam Levine, the singer for Maroon 5. And I saw the timeline. I'm looking here. 2019 is when you started working with Lane. Now, Adam Levine, you had the ladies were going wild during 2019 Super Bowl. Is that because of you, Gabe? Was that your work?
I was, and it was a funny thing because I was training them, and like the prop bets were coming up on like Bovado and like the offshore account stuff. They're like, it was like minus 500 if you, or like minus 250 if he was taking his shirt off. And so my buddies are all texting me like, yo, is he taking his shirt off? And like, I swear to God, he literally he was like contemplating it, like on the, like we got police escorted into Super Bowl, which is pretty cool. And he's literally talking to me about it. Like, should I do it? Should I not? And I was just like, hey man, you do whatever you want to do. Like, it's not my choice. Like it's going to be there forever. So just, I know you're ready from like an aesthetic appearance standpoint, but it's your choice. And so literally when he got on there, he hadn't made up his mind yet. But yeah, it was a good Super Bowl. Well, the game was terrible, but it was good for us.
Yeah, no doubt. That's awesome. The next question was going to be, did he take you with? And he did. That's awesome to hear, man. And that's so funny. I was talking to my girlfriend before, I was getting ready for the show, and I was like, I'm asking him that. I'm like, because that's pretty wild. And you remember people were losing their minds. I'm like, I wonder if that's all because of Gabe here. And dude, turns out it is. So that's awesome, man. So how did Lane convince you to leave, a star like, the singer of Maroon 5 who's taking you to Super Bowls and stuff like that? How did Lane talk you into starting up the Bro Barn? Because it sounds like you were actually a part of getting the Bro Barn together, man. What was that like?
Man, what's funny is Lane, like he always talks about this wrestling stuff when he's done, but Lane's going to be a damn car salesman because he just knew every little thing to say to me to snooze me and schmooze me on over here. Because I had a dream job in Los Angeles, California, and I'm from California. So to move out to Philly, it was a big ask. And he said all the right stuff. Like, look, when you're training those guys, like it was cool going on tour, like going to all the countries. I got to go to Europe, got to go to Asia, South America with the band, with that type of paparazzi. It was surreal, unreal. But my expertise and what I learned and like I got all my education and informal training on is sport performance. And Lane, I'll never forget his last thing. He's like, I'm gonna make the Hall of Fame, and you're gonna be right there, sitting there as I'm inducted. And if you're a sports fan, period, if the Eagles ask you to be a speaker at the induction, even as you, Jim, like it's just it tugs on those heartstrings. I was like, damn, like that's an accomplishment where it's like Adam could never present something like to me, like that's personally reaches home. And just being a sports fan my whole life and being in athletics, a driven individual to say something like that. He made sure like monetarily is like there was going to be no fall off, and he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I was like, I told the wife, we literally had our kid. He was born 2.5 weeks, and we left straight to Philly. Wow. So it was just on the go. And he's like, the staff, he never talked bad about the staff. He just wasn't happy with the individual attention, which is hard. Like the strength staff has 100 guys to take care of. It's really hard to make an individual plan for everyone. Lane kind of saw what Tom Brady was doing, and he was like, that's the attention that I want. And I know I'm at that caliber, and I can use that, that kind of input. So he, like I said, he said all the right things. And I was just like, my wife didn't believe me. She's like, you're kidding, right? Like we're not moving to Philadelphia. And from his, like, he asked about like 3 weeks prior, and then he literally put the gas on the pedal. He's like, no, you're coming now. And I was like, all right. So he got it done.
Gabe, that's awesome. I'm just sitting here thinking about Lane because he is quite the smooth talker. So for him to be pushing you like that, to move all the way across the country, and you guys look like you're having a great time. So, it must have, I'm sure you had a fun time meeting him, but what was it like when you first moved here? Culture shock, I'm sure, but what was it like with him? I remember that time when he said he was putting it together, that he was driven and dedicated to being the best he could be. So I imagine that's kind of the conversation he had with you. Like, look, I know I'm that good, but I want to be even better. So, what was that like to see him, because he had just gotten in trouble for the PEDs, all that stuff. What has he been like that since then? And how have you seen him change since that time?
Honestly, he hasn't changed much in that if anybody that actually knows Lane, I can't believe it, how much input he puts into his body and how much he does. Like, I've met a few people like truly dedicated to their craft that like that's all they think about. Lane is one of them, and we'll get into it, but Jalen's another. But Lane, it'll be 10 p.m. Everybody's watching Monday Night Football. Lane's in the corner doing like a hip flexor stretch and rolling out his foot, or like on YouTube figuring out how to get stronger pinky toe, or like how to get a stronger third digit toe. Like his dedication and time he puts into his own body, it makes my job a lot easier. So when I first got here, it was constant, like, what can we be doing? What can we be doing? And it was almost to the point where it's like, hey, like we need recovery more than we need input. Like we need to kind of calm down. And that's what truly started. Like the barn's cool, but we have in our garage, in like Lane's garage, he has a cold tub, a sauna, a hyperbaric chamber that we got from Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah.
And I mean, his just everything he has, like besides the money price tag on it, it just goes to show you how much he puts in. And he did it for all the teammates because that's the guy he is. But it just goes to show you how much that he puts into his body. So when I first got out here, it was just 100 miles an hour, and we really haven't stopped.
It sounds like it. I mean, he did everything he could to get you away from Adam Levine and Maroon 5. You're here. You're talking about hyperbaric chambers. I saw that there's a personal chef there for you guys. I mean, sounds like he's taking care of you guys because, you know, you're really taking care of him. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and all Eagles fans for doing all you can, because it sounds like that's what it is. You know, he's hungry, but he's getting up there. I know when I hit my 30s, it's like maybe a little more recovery, a little less going hard. So,
oh yeah, the chef helps. We have Justin Massey here as our chef, and he's just one of the best in the area. But funny enough, Adam Levine, when I called him and told him, like, he was kind of like shocked, like, "What? You're leaving? Like, what do you mean?" He said, "Fine, but Lane's coming here, and he has to ask me himself." So I had to bring Lane to Adam's house. And he literally was having like a party. And I mean, not like it was like all his just close friends. And yeah, Lane had to sit down with Adam and be like, hey, I need this for my career. So it was actually like, no kidding. Adam literally texted me. He's like, there's only one way he could take you is if Lane comes over and asks me personally. Like,
dude, that is the best thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, like you're asking someone's daughter to marry them or something, you know?
Dude, this is so rich. I'm going to remember that forever. I'm looking right now in my head, seeing Lane Johnson sitting down with Adam Levine. Like, look, man, I'm really going to need Gabe. Like, that's got to feel so good, man, to know that you were so wanted, man. And to both the Marks tuning in and everybody else tuning in, we thank you guys for taking the time to watch. Gabe, definitely a big thank you for tuning in, man. And we all want to thank you for making them stronger, faster. And I know you do a lot more than that. Walk us through a day. And how about a normal day? Not a Jalen Hurts 5 a.m. day. What is a normal day like at the Bro Barn?
All right, well, first of all, Jalen Hurts is 5 a.m. every day. So that's not an abnormal day.
We'll get into his day next.
Yeah, he's a different creature. So the Bro Barn will go. The guys we usually actually start the workout at 9. So they're eating food, like just generally just good tips for everybody on here when you're working out. About 2 hours before workout is an ideal time to digest all your food and nutrition. So I always try to encourage you guys to eat around 7 o'clock. So by 9 o'clock, they're ready to go. So chef will make food for everybody. And they'll all eat around, like I said, 7, but they'll have late nights and they'll come in at 7:30, 8 or 8:30, 8:45. They'll eat, we'll come in and we roll out, we do all of our mobility. Everybody has kind of a unique specific mobility based on previous injury, past injury, or things that they need to focus on. We'll get into speed work outside, and positional specific. Like obviously we have a ton of linemen here, so a lot of it's lineman driven, linear lateral days. So we have outside turf. Actually, I don't know if they've shown that stuff, but we have like a whole strip of outside turf right here. So it's like 15 yards, and then we have like a ramp in the back that's turf too.
Nice.
Like the back of the stuff, but they do all their movement stuff, and that's really important because I think Lane really set the standard. And I think people jokingly will bring up the PED stuff, but Lane is so different because he was a quarterback in college, like at one of the top junior colleges in the nation. He was a quarterback. And it's not to talk on his quarterback skills, but that's just how athletic he is. And the position has become so athletic. When you talk to the rest of the linemen, like we talked to the Herbigs and the Pryors and all that, they say it's not even fair to watch Lane move because he's so gifted at it. It's like one of those things that you almost don't even take notes on because it's almost not obtainable for anybody, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think we focus on movement a lot because I really got into that. I was like, Lane's so good because he's so athletic. So these guys are becoming so lean. Like the Aaron Donalds, they're not little tanks anymore. They're not 400-pound, zero technique Vince Wilforks where you just have to be strong enough to move them out of the A gap. Like these guys are doing 360 Euro steps to get to the quarterback now.
Seriously.
So your agility is at an all-time high. So I really try to put a focus on speed work because it's transferable. And obviously Coach Stout loves when these guys can move a little bit better. So we'll work on the focus outside. We'll time them. We have a lot of stuff to time them, ensure we're getting a little bit bigger, faster, stronger. And then we'll come in and do the lift. In the lift, we'll alternate between upper and lower bodies. And then Wednesday's a conditioning day. Early in the off season, conditioning is just kind of more machine. We'll do strongman stuff. And then as we get closer to season, we'll do conditioning tests, type of heart rate stuff. And the conditioning is what really kills them. We do like sled and that's what like the Bro Barns know. It's tough. Like we've had a lot of guys come and not necessarily come back. We'll say that.
Drago style.
Yeah. I mean, we crush them. And that's from my military side of like work hard. And that's not to say like doing a lot more is not necessarily better. Like I still make sure, I go back to Oxford, my formal education of knowing that we're getting better and moving to the right. But yeah, they get after it easy here.
Dude, that's so awesome just to hear those things. And I heard a couple names you mentioned in there. Stout, man. Fantastic getting him back this year. I was really scared with the whole coaching turnover. Have you ever had the chance to talk with Stoutland and actually has he given you any pointers on things he would like to see you work with certain guys or anything like that? Any communication with him?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, not specifically because at the time I met him like 3 or 4 times. And you could just tell he's one of those, like, I've met Nick Saban. I've met a lot of coaches. When you're in their presence, you just know there's like, wow, like there's an aura they don't turn off, like you see them and like, they'll never turn that coaching side off. They're like always profound with every word they say. And Stout's kind of the same way, whereas like, I remember the first day I went into the Eagles and facility and I took everybody, I went to the workout and I worked with the head strength coach and I ate breakfast with Stout and he was like, I know Lane like the back of my hand. And he goes, I need the back of my hand strong, Gabe. And like, that was his first words, he ever told me. So I was like, got it. But specifically to the players, he's never said anything specific, but Lane tells me everything that goes on in the meeting. And I always ask like, hey, what can I do for Pryor? What can I do for Herbie? What can I do for Isaac? Like what will help? And that helps formulate what the workout kind of works like or looks like based on like his input. Cause we don't speak the same language. When Stout says I need quick feet, to me in strength conditioning, that means a whole nother world of like, all right, how do I develop quick feet?
Okay. Now I keep hearing you name Herbie and I love it. I loved the nickname. I was huge on Nate Herbig when he came here. And I think, obviously in the past couple of years, he's really improved and we can thank you for that, Gabe. Any inside scoop on what the hell's going on with Herbie? Heard he left practice a little early today.
I mean, he should be fine, but he's brought probably my most fun off season. And I've had a lot of athletes. Like I said, like it's like 12 years coming now. Had a lot of athletes and Herbie lost over 55 pounds and it was impressive. Like just the dedication and, like when the guys are going out, Herbie's staying in, it was all on Herbie too. Like I guided him. I made sure that he knew all the things that he needed, but it was all on him. He was amazing, but he's so young. I mean, he's younger than Dickerson. Like people forget that is he has 3 years under his belt and he's still younger than the incoming draft class.
Yep.
So he's just developing at such an insane rate. And I think the executive side knows, and they like realize that they're like, wow, like no injuries. He's in his 3rd year. He was like one of the highest PFF graded guards in the league last year. Obviously we had a lot of unfortunate injuries, but he was a silver lining out of that. So I really hope to see him around as much as possible, especially with our aging line. But yeah, he's going to turn a lot of heads this year, and he's going to continue regardless of wherever he starts out at.
I think so too. And I love what Lane said the other day. He talked about, how he got to learn from JP and Harriman, Evan Mathis. So he's trying to pass that wisdom down. So I hope that, whenever, and it's going to be a sad day when Lane finally leaves, but hopefully Herbig is still here to carry the torch, and he's been learning. But you said he's a really fun guy. I wanted to take this time to ask you some of the stuff I read. You guys are set up shop, and there's an elementary school right behind you. So, certain part of the days you guys have to tone it down a little bit because you said it gets rowdy in there. What is maybe a not safe for work story that you wouldn't be able to tell anywhere else that you want to tell here at On the Road to Victory? Because I'd love to hear it.
I mean, we play some pretty loud music, and there's definitely some profanity in it. We have the outside speakers blaring. And they were going, I forget who it was, but on our ramp. So there's a fence. Actually, I'll show you. There's like a fence, and that's where the school is. And if you go up the ramp, then you can see over into the school. So if you could see, there's our ramp, and then the school's right behind. So if you go to the top of that ramp, you can kind of see inside the school.
Yeah.
And I think an F-bomb was dropped in the lyrics, and this teacher was like, hey, we have kids over here. And I forget who yelled it out. We had like 8 guys over, but somebody yelled, he said, tuck him into bed. And like the teacher just laughed and like didn't say anything. I mean, the kids are so young. They're like 3-year-olds, and we're out there for like 15 minutes. So it's not a big deal, but
that's great.
I'm kind of laughing about it. And like I said, I forget who it was. It might've been Pryor. It was somebody, but it was hilarious.
That's great. I was reading it. I'm like, oh my God, I could only imagine. So I'm sure you guys have a great time out there. Now, I'm sure, as you had said, you guys have fun, you have a great time, but when it gets down to business, you guys mean business. And Gabe, the fans are thanking you. I'm thanking you. Keep our guys healthy, dude. Keep doing great things, helping Herbig lose 55 pounds. Like, man, you're really impressing me here, man. This is awesome. Thanks for the little tours too. This is really fantastic. But there's one person who I feel we all know he just means business. What is a day like for Jalen Hurts, a guy who I hear Lane made a joke about? I'm up at 9. He's already done doing, his pre-workouts and stuff. What is it like just getting to know Jalen Hurts? I mean, just give us an idea of what we're dealing with as the new Eagles quarterback here.
Man, everything that you would hope, it's true. Like, I mean, from 5 a.m., it's not only is he taking care of his body, like, I mean, Jalen doesn't eat a ton of red meat because he understands like its effect on the body, like not more that he prefers. It's not any like preference. It's just he knows what it does long term. So everything from his diet to his mobility. I think I said it in one of the articles, like when we're in the barn, like Jalen always has highlights of like a McNabb, of Mike Vick, of somebody, and he's always like analyzing it. He has his playbook out, and he's in between sets. He's calling out the plays, memorizing the plays, and he's telling me what he's looking for on defense. A 2-man deep, looking in flat. This is my reads from left to right. I've never seen, like I said, Lane is so dialed into his body. I've never seen somebody so dedicated to their craft in Jalen that he never turns it off. Like I see a lot of, I've had a ton of quarterbacks in the past, and I've never seen this type of work ethic from the quarterbacks on learning a system. He knows it's his team. He knows he's QB1, and he's ready to show people, like he's been through so much adversity. Like he kind of cancels his ears out. Like I'll have First Take on just because I have ESPN on, and I mean, like they're bashing him, and it doesn't fade. Like he doesn't get phased, and I'm like going to change a channel real quick, and like he's like, don't worry about it.
Dude, I love that you just said that.
So he's just, I mean, it's unreal that how dialed in he is, and I mean, I honestly listen to you guys. I'm just on Twitter watching practice, kind of like as people tweet it, and seeing his progression every day. It's because he's so coachable. Like the guy doesn't have an ego. There's no ego in Jalen. It's a byproduct because his dad's a football coach. He takes coaching so well. I think that's the biggest thing is Sirianni's a teacher. Some guys are knocking Sirianni because he's not a disciplinarian. but he's a teacher and he's learning. And this whole game is nothing but education. So the more Jalen can learn and accept that, I think it's the first time Eagles have had a quarterback willing to grow and learn with the staff in a while that I'm excited for him.
You said it perfectly there. And I was going to say, I don't want to bash, the prior guy, but it looked like when adversity hit him, he went running. This guy, you're telling me keep it on. I want to hear it. Oh my God. Yes. I love that. I love the fact 625 is it that he squats? I mean, the guy is a monster. But you mentioned somebody who I was going to ask you about next. What a great bridge into that. I've been referring to them as the yin and the yang. I feel like, Sirianni's fun and loving and he's out there, but, Jalen Hurts is he's the Terminator. That's what I've been calling him. I just feel he's got those shades. He's a badass. He's coming to take your leather gear. That's what he's doing. I think those two together, it's going to be really exciting because Jalen Hurts has all the skills you need, right? It's just up here, the teaching. And you said it. What a great teacher Sirianni is. So I was going to ask you, you've said that, but what are your thoughts? I mean, I was excited. I love the fact, I think he shows his passion for the game. And some people, I don't know why, are thrown off by that. And same with Jalen Hurts. I don't get the negativity, but it sounds like you like him. Do you think he's going to be around for a while and could bring us another trophy here?
Hey, man, these Philly fans are crazy. I'll tell you what, I'll tune into some of these radio stations, and I'm a West Coast guy. I'm a Giants fan now. So when I say the name Gabe Kapler, everybody starts running, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a critical fan base. And again, like I said, it's unique to be here, and I love it. It's awesome. But it's going to be on wins and losses. It doesn't matter how much people like you or don't like you. It's a matter of your production. And I'm guessing the executive staff are thinking this could be the next Andy Reid. You keep hearing that because he didn't have a head coaching job, and this is now, the back-to-back guy that this is their first head coaching job. So it's just going to be based on how well the team performs. And I think his football knowledge, I know Kelce was working out here, and Kelce said when he asked him a question, and in previous staffs, he'd ask a question and they're like, we'll get back to you or whatever. Like Sirianni stops everything and he answers Kelce's question like expansively. Like, no, I'm going to answer your question verbatim, why we do it, my philosophy, why I chose this play. And I think that's refreshing because you see the Sean McVays, and I have some guys on the Rams, and they didn't necessarily like McVay, like as a person. They're not like, I'm going to go hang out with that guy, but he was just so good at football. They respect him. And I've had the same thing with Pete Carroll, where it wasn't like Pete Carroll was their best friend, even though everybody thinks that. It was just that when you win football games and you have that knowledge, people start respecting you. So to all the people that say he's not a disciplinarian, hey, if he goes 3-0, let me tell you, everybody on that roster is going to be looking at him for the next question and the next answer, because that's what gets you respect is wins.
Truth. And I heard him call out Jason Huntley the other day in practice. Details, yelling at him. We need accountability on this team. That's something we've been lacking for a few years. You sound like you've really been enjoying becoming an Eagles fan, getting to go to the Link. What's it like as an outsider the past few years coming to the Link? What's that experience like in becoming an Eagles fan?
Man, second to none. I was a born and raised a Raiders fan, and I thought we had the craziest fans, it was, I literally thought we had the craziest fans in the game. And when I came to the Link, I've never seen so much knowledge. Like I'm up in the third deck or the second deck, and like there's ladies talking about QBR and like completion percentages. And I'm like, what? Like, how do you know that? I mean, just it's a passionate fan base, and they're amazing. It was easy to become a fan. Like I didn't know, oh, I'm working for Lane, I'm an automatic Eagles fan. Like it's not something you even think about or talk about within yourself. But I go to the game, and then I was like, wow, they start playing that Rocky music, and you're like, all right, this is something I can get into. And I mean, it was pretty simple to root for the team after that. And, it was all good from there. So I guess I'm not even on the bandwagon. I'm in now. I'm all about it now.
Gabe, you are part of the Eagles fan base now. It's just as simple as that. Anybody's got a problem, they're coming through me, because you are our life source to that offensive line staying healthy this year. Yeah. So, Gabe, dude, I can't believe it's already been a half hour. My Lord, I could sit here and talk to you off for hours because you've given us such awesome stuff, man. Giving us the little tours, everything, dude. This was greater than I could have imagined, and I knew it was going to be good. So, Thank you so much for taking the time. Do you have any last words, Gabe, before we head out?
Go Birds.
That's what I like to hear. Now, I'm going to need you to tell Lane for me and all the other guys when you see him, Jalen Hurts, go Birds. We believe in them.
Oh, yeah.
And, dude, don't listen to the radio. Don't listen to all the people trolling. The diehards believe. And I'm telling you, I've been making QB1. And Jalen Hurts' mother, Pamela, actually ended up commenting on one of my videos a few months ago. And I was like, I'm telling you, that when his mom's out there, letting people know, like, yes, yeah, dude, this guy is serious. Everybody knows it. Dude, I'm so happy. So, Gabe, keep doing great things with our players. Thank you so much for taking the time today, man. This was seriously fantastic. Thank you to everybody for tuning in tonight. You stay safe out there. Love you all. And as always, go Birds.